Danny, Travis, it's good to have you and the rest of my podcast friends here for my board-funded Kaiju Podcasters Banquet.
Thanks for having us. I can't say no to free food on some supervillain's dime.
And you'll never see me turn down an opportunity to visit Monster Island. Unless it's to test Dr. Dorff's mushrooms. That dude weirds me the heck out.
I just want to see Clifford before he leaves. I have to confirm my theory that he's an emotional vampire.
Travis, I'm pretty sure the scientists here would have figured that out.
Then how do you explain Michael needing a hiatus on Kaiju Weekly after we covered that movie? It's because Clifford drained him when he visited the island last month.
Or he's just a little burnout.
Nope, it's because of Clifford.
Hey, speaking of Michael, where is that power-tripping lug? I kind of wanted to talk collector shop with him.
That's a good question, because he sponsored today's broadcast on MIFV Max, and I still don't know what we're discussing. Something about that old cliche green with envy?
Well, speaking as Michael's co-host, he's kind of like that. It drives me crazy.
Hey, Jimmy, have you heard from Michael? Jimmy!
I'm so sorry, Mr. Marchand, but your producer had to bolt.
Is that who I think it is?
If you're thinking of the board's pretentious little British envoy, yeah, it's WHG3.
Not one of your better witticisms, but what was I expecting from a bloody yanker like you, Nate?
I'm going to call security and have you arrested and then have Raymond prosecute your crumpet-loving face for assaulting Jimmy.
I wouldn't do that, Mr. Marchand. I wouldn't do that. If either you or your associates tried to contact anyone outside of these rooms, well, let's just say your contract may not be renewed.
Just wait until Michael gets here.
He will Lord Gatekeep you into next Christmas.
That would be a concern for me, if he were coming.
What?
Don't worry, he's very much alive. I simply made it worth his while by offering him a certain colorful vinyl toy that he'd been lusting after. Something in the form of a Ghidorah or something of that nature. I don't know how it is you collectors are into this type of thing. It seems quite childish to me. I even had it wrapped and topped with a bow, so I'm sure he'll be having a very Merry Christmas, I assure you.
Curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal, Michael!
Don't worry, I'll yell at him on the next episode of Kaiju Weekly.
No, you won't. All right, spill it, Oliver Twisted. Why the Godzilla in hell are you doing this?
Simply put, Mr. Marchand, vengeance. Vengeance for your little social experiment in episode 50. The board was quite cheesed off at a chaff like you outing them to the world and undermining everything that we have tried to build.
How predictably petty of all of you.
Oh, still full of beans after surviving everything we've thrown at you. The year of Gamera, the memos, the busy work, the Megalon crate, shooting you into space and making you watch your producer's docudrama, I guess if you can call it that, was to be our grand crescendo. But, alas, your stubbornness knows no bounds. And as I've said before, Mr. Marchand, how very American of you.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Of course you will. But now, Mr. Marchand, the board has sent me here to make you and your unfortunate guests see a film that cannot be unseen. And if you want to escape this studio, your devolution into madness must be documented and must be broadcast to the rest of the island. And to paraphrase a very good friend of mine, that does make my mouth water.
After the year I've had, there's nothing you can throw at me that will hurt. So, in the words of the Great One, just bring it.
That's the spirit, Nate.
Yeah!
Well, remember, Nate. Can I call you Nate, or do you prefer Mr. Marchand? Remember, you asked for it. Today, the Monster Island Board of Directors is proud to announce that you are now mandated to watch Yeti, giant of the 20th century.
No! Live from the KIJU studios in beautiful Ogasawara, this is the Monster Island Film Vault, episode 55, Yeti, giant of the 20th century. Hello, kaiju lovers, and welcome to the Monster Island Film Vault, a podcast seeking entertainment and enlightenment through tokusatsu, although I don't think I had a whole lot of that today, either one of them. Because, oh boy, today was a little unexpected, but at least I had an experience, to say the least, with a couple good friends of mine, one of whom is the co-host of Kaiju Weekly, my co-host on Henshin Men, a spin-off podcast that you should all be listening to, and the co-founder of Kaiju Ramen Magazine. That would be Mr. Travis Alexander.
I don't know what you're talking about. I was extremely enlightened by this episode. Like, I reached nirvana with this movie.
Good for you. And then the other person who joined us today is the author and creator of the Godzilla Novelization Project, the Dandy Man Can himself, Danny DiManna.
You sound a little tired there, Nate. You doing okay? You're looking a little glassy-eyed.
Did you forget what we watched today?
No, I actually had kind of a hoot and a half watching it.
A Putin? I didn't know this was a Russian movie.
A Putin and a half.
A Putin in the half. We're already doing bad voice. You can tell we're going to be a little loopy, I think, during this episode.
Yeah.
Loopy.
Yeah, me especially.
Yeah. Thanks for the nice intro, though, but I kind of wish Michael was here. That would have been nice.
Yeah, that's he was supposed to be here, but changes happened. Kind of like the guy in the producer booth right now.
Oh, boy.
Mr. Marchand, you seem to be forgetting to introduce someone quite important to this episode.
Of course. This would be Mr. William H. George III, Esquire. There, are you satisfied now?
No, not quite. I am William H. George III, the special envoy of the Monster Island Board of Directors. And I am here because I gave Jimmy the day off, so to speak.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he's sleeping it off right now. Mm-hmm.
Too soon.
Resting peacefully as we speak, I'm sure.
Yes, for sure. But do you want to tell everybody what you had us watch today, good sir?
Oh, I would. Oh, I absolutely would. We watched a fantastic, well, by we, I mean you three, and I didn't watch it at all. You three had to watch a masterpiece of Canadian cinema.
It's actually Italian, but who's keeping track?
Italian, Canadian, it doesn't matter, Mr. Marchand. How dare you interrupt me?
Tomato.
We
Canadian,
watched
Italian.
this. Mr. Alexander, please. I am talking.
See what I've had to put up with for a year, Travis?
We watched this beautiful movie. Well, you watched this beautiful movie. And I'm going to sit back and watch you three discuss it like civilized gentlemen.
Yes, that would be Yeti, giant of the 20th century, in case anyone was wondering. This
Nate,
movie has a storied history.
You really don't look well, Nate.
Where's that bloody bottle opener here?
What was that?
Found it.
What was that?
Nothing. Just carry on.
Okay. Danny, you remember when I had you on last a few months ago for Gamera Super Monster?
I did. It was a blast. You kind of went insane that time, too.
Yeah, I think I owe Gamera Super Monster an apology. What was that?
No way. Oh my gosh, he admitted it. He admitted it. Did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear that?
What I heard was, I think I heard a clinking glass. I thought that meant that our little British friend was going to interrupt us.
Okay. What do you have to say, man?
No,
Go ahead.
it's fine. Just carry on. I'm trying to do something here in the producer booth.
Okay.
Are you pouring something? What is that?
It doesn't matter, Mr. DiManna.
Okay.
Just keep talking.
Anyway, yes.
Okay. Well, yeah, I remember that episode, and I remember enjoying the movie exponentially more than you did. But you owe it an apology, you say?
Yes. I think I do. This hurt.
Wow, Yeti got you that bad, huh?
Yeah, it hurt. It hurt so much. What?
I don't.
Excuse me.
I want to know, A, what he's drinking, and B, can I have some?
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering that myself. You might want to mute your mic, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Alexander, I will. Mr. DiManna, come over here and I will hand you a glass.
Okay.
So I can pour Mr. Alexander a nip of what I'm drinking.
Sounds like a plan. Nate, talk about the movie. I will be right back. Just give me a sec here.
Sure, Danny. Abandon me. Someone needs to do a plot synopsis for this.
Inflatable nip.
God, we're not even there yet. Hey, Travis, you want to do the plot synopsis for this movie?
Okay.
Hold on there, Travis. Hold on. I have your drink. You should probably have a swig of this before you start talking about this movie. Here you go.
Okay. Why does it smell funny? And
just drink it.
Just
drink it.
You didn't visit Dr. Dorif before this, did you?
No, I actually pulled this from my private collection. Mr. Marchand.
Okay.
I don't know if this is what I thought it was, but thank you.
You're welcome.
It's better than nothing.
You're welcome. Never say that we don't treat our guests with the utmost respect.
Okay. What's this movie about?
Okay, so one of the members of the Bee Gees was frozen in the ice of Canada, but actually Italy, but actually Canada. They defrost him, but he's actually a Yeti or Yeti or however the many different ways they however they pronounce it in this movie, because they pronounce it like 10 different ways. And he goes, things run amok and weirdness happens. And yeah, I don't know. I kind of blacked out halfway through.
Yeah, and I was sitting there thinking, like, I've already seen this movie. It's called King Kong, 1976.
Yeah, even the music sounded like John Barry's music in like a couple of spots when it wasn't Carmina Burana over and over again.
Oh yeah, you mean when this group called the Yetians do the theme song and it sounds like the Bee Gees slumming it after Saturday Night Fever?
Yeah. It's oh boy.
Mr. Marchand, we're not allowed to talk about the Yetians on this podcast. The contractual obligations, please. Thank you.
But they made the soundtrack for this movie. Okay, fine.
Yeah. I mean, we can just talk about Carmina Burana the rest of the time. That's the best part.
Oh yes, that was indeed the best part. She is a lovely woman. She's quite beautiful. I don't know who's more beautiful, her or Nate, your pseudo sister. Jessica.
Oh, don't.
She's quite beautiful as well.
Don't. Wow. I might be, neck deep in misery right now, but I will still go big brother on your little British butt right now. I don't care if everyone hears it.
Well, from what I understand, she's taken a liking to handcuffs.
Either you're lying or I'm going to have a talk.
Wow. Thanks for inviting me on the show today, Nate. This isn't uncomfortable at all.
Yeah, like this movie. Like this movie. You know what?
Carmina Burana is the name of the song and not the actress.
Okay. You know what? I'm looking at my little my little laptop right here that I use for the show, and I see that apparently you, Mr. George 3, attempting to be a decent producer today, has sent me a bunch of notes that he wants me to go through. Oh, how wonderful of you. Thank you. Maybe.
You are
I don't
quite
know.
welcome, Mr. Marchand. I wanted to do my due diligence to make this episode as easy on you as humanly possible.
Now, I do have one very important question. How in green hell did this movie get into the film vault? Because I never acquired it.
Let's just say we played the long game at the Monster Island Board of Directors, Mr. Marchand.
Are you sure about that?
I might have lent them a copy after Kaiju Quarantine.
Oh, Kaiju
Quarantine. Come on, man. Come on.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander. Your compensation is waiting for you at the boardroom.
Wow.
Well,
I didn't know it was going to be used against myself. I mean,
Well, that's funny because I could have swore I saw a package come in addressed to the film vault and not to me from a certain dandy man about this time last year.
That there are a lot of guys named Dandy Man out there. Let's not get crazy. Hold on now. Hold on. It said, okay, guys. I can explain. It was supposed to be a gag gift. It was supposed to be a gag gift. It was the Blu-ray of the movie. It was just supposed to be a joke. I didn't even think he was going to open it. Is that what's in the vault right now?
I have my suspicions, but apparently both of you have brought copies. So I'm going to take a wild guess, though, that the one we saw today was the one you sent, Dandy Man, because the restoration in this movie is just, it's mind-bogglingly good. I have to say that. This is far better than the one we watched in Kaiju Quarantine 2, which looked like it had been bathed in Vaseline for 40 years.
Well, I mean, at least you got a nice, copy for the vault. I didn't think I was going to have to sit and watch it. I thought I was going to put it in the mail, send it to you, and then never have to think about it again.
I don't know who I need to be ticked at right now. You or my recently outed employers. So anyway,
I think we just need to start talking about this movie. Guys.
Yeah, we do.
Travis sent you a copy. I sent you a copy, and then he made you watch it. And we're all kind of culpable. We all had to sit and watch it, so we're all in it together. Mistakes were made.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about this thing.
Why do I have? Oh my gosh. What was that?
I mean, that's pretty much like the subtitle of this movie is "Mistakes Were Made."
Mistakes were made. Okay, that's a good one. See, we're kind of picking up the atmosphere in here a little bit, getting some jokes going on.
I'm gonna need it.
I guess I can dive into some of like the history that I do know about this film. It's
because I looked into it and I'm looking over the stuff that Mr. George sent over to me, and apparently he went to the trouble of contacting a friend of the podcast, John LeMay, and got some inside information from a new edition of Kong Unmade about this movie. Because John is apparently making a second edition that will be out soon.
Oh, I'll be buying that. 100%.
I'll need to add it to the Sekizawa library, but we can blame Kong 76 for this more directly than I thought. This isn't just a knockoff. No, it's not just a knockoff. It's indirectly connected to De Laurentiis.
Yes, it is. I actually know this story. Go ahead and tell it. Tell the nice people at home.
Okay, from what I'm looking at here, he wanted to make another ape movie because of the success of Kong. It was going to be titled Yeti, the Abominable Snowman. God, I find myself really wishing I was just watching Half Human again, and that's been locked away forever because reasons. Why didn't they lock this one away? All right.
You can do this, Nate. Read,
all right.
Breathe, and then read. Come on.
Mr. Marchand, might I give you some advice?
Sure.
You sound a little bit distressed, so it would make you and your cohorts here and your audience listening a little bit at ease if you would just calm down.
Duly noted. Anyway, his screenwriter for this project, Mr. De Laurentiis, was
quick question. Does Mr. Crane keep snacks in the booth here?
I don't know. I don't spend a whole lot of time in the producer booth.
Duly noted. Thank you.
Anyway, the screenwriter he had for this Yeti project was a guy named Giorgio.
One more question. What about soft drinks or anything other than, well, adult beverages.
Check the green room. There's a fridge there. Anyway, was a fellow named Giorgio Mosurin. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm probably not. I'm a dirty, dirty American. What can I say? Who spoke with another...
I can confirm that you are indeed a dirty, dirty American, Mr. Marchand.
I'm glad we agree on something finally. Anyway, he spoke to a competing producer named Nicola Pomilia at Stefano Films, which made this movie. He talked about this project, and then soon afterwards, suddenly Pomilia started working on a competing movie called Yeti, subtitled Bigfoot. That sounds a tiny bit confusing, to say the least, because they are not the same thing. Very similar, but not the same thing. And for De Laurentiis, it was deja vu all over again, because if you heard my episode on King Kong 76, and even a little, actually even more so in the King Kong Lives episode, you find out just the legal shenanigans that went on because of Kong 76. So he was doing it all over again because there was a competing Kong movie at the time, and now he had a competing Yeti movie going on, and he took this guy to court over it.
Ooh, what are these?
Delicious. And they ended up, good Lord.
This episode is going to take forever.
Like I said, shut off your mic. Anyway.
What did you say, Mr. Marchand? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Moving on. So he took the guy to court, but eventually dropped it. However, he did get Pomilia to change the title, because originally it was going to be titled... Actually, the competing film was Yeti. Yeah, the competing title was Yeti, but then he changed it to Giant of the 20th Century. And there's even more connections, because Pomilia had, as we saw in this movie, had a life-size animatronic prop made of the Yeti's hand as a publicity stunt, just like in Kong 76. And he even showed it off on a Sunday night TV special as some sort of mechanical marvel. However, he had one very important absence, and that was Carlos Rambaldi, because he made this full-size replica that we see a couple of times. Nathan was 25 feet tall, but it was just a prop from the, Viraggio Carnival. And he made two of them. That thing didn't even move. At least the one in Kong 76 could move. He also, you want to talk about ambitious, he wanted to set and shoot this movie in the Himalayas. Oh, yeah, that would have worked.
Question. Sorry to interrupt you, Nate. You were doing such a fine job, I promise. Mr. Alexander, could you please bring the hot sauce that you have sitting beside you into the booth, please? Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, he thought he was going to film in the Himalayas, and then decided to cut costs by going to Canada. Funny enough, they still film most of the movie in Cinecittà, I'm looking at it, which was around Rome, and they only filmed a few scenes in Canada. I wonder what those were.
Probably the ones with all the flags.
Oh, God, the flags. In case you didn't know, this took place in Canada. Oh, it reminds you a lot. You see the flag, every 2 minutes it felt like. We have a business called the Maple Leaf Enterprises and things like that. The only thing that they...
all over this thing.
Yeah, the only thing... What?
What?
You had something to say? I'm sorry, I'm ranting.
No, I was just going to say that technically qualifies it as not just Kongsploitation, but also Canucksploitation.
Oh, of course it does. Of course it does. It's so weird. This movie has such a weird identity crisis. It's an Italian movie set in Canada and made in Canada, and just
That's not the only crisis.
Yeah, well, the only thing that they were missing was they needed to have all of these characters saying "a" every other sentence, because. Yeah. So congratulations, my Canuck friend Chris Cook. You got a kaiju movie to your country's credit. I hope you're happy.
He's probably not. I wouldn't be. If I was Canadian, I'd be kind of teed.
Well, going on about some background things on this, there were actually early pre-production drawings where the Yeti was going to wear a loincloth.
He probably should have.
I think I was going to say, what he needed was a bra.
A fur diaper?
Hey, what?
he should have worn a loincloth instead of the fur diaper that he has in this movie.
Yes. But did you, how about this for you? They actually have supposedly filmed 2 endings. So it's like King Kong versus Godzilla. Almost someone's going to find the other ending, aren't they?
The other ending to King Kong versus Godzilla?
No, the other ending to this movie, because apparently there were 2 of them.
I'm just making sure.
No. Oh, no. I am not so delirious that I'm going to start peddling that fake news around.
Yeah, I was a little worried there because if you start believing that, then I know this movie started rotting your brain.
Oh, yes, it did. But no.
What's in the other ending?
Well, here's a quotation from John's upcoming book. Quote, and though the Yeti lives at the end of the movie, spoiler warning, an alternate ending was shot according to Pomelia, as quoted in an old issue of House of Hammer.
Mr. Marchand, you look very hungry. These chips are delicious. Would you like some?
I'm fasting. Anyway, when he stated, I am shooting 2 different endings. In one of them, my Yeti is destroyed. End quote. That's apparently the long and short of it.
Would have, again, connected it more to Kong 76 because, of course, Kong dies at the end of that one.
Kong always dies. What are you talking about?
Most of the Kong exploitation from the late 70s had the Mighty Peking Man. He dies very brutally in that film. The only other one I can think of from that era where the ape doesn't die at the end is Queen Kong.
Oh, Queen Kong.
I'm sure there are other ones. I mean, there's a lot of Kong exploitation.
John actually
think of that where she lives.
John actually said this movie is stranger than both Ape, another infamous Kong exploitation movie, and Queen Kong. How is that possible? I've seen clips of both of those movies. How?
Queen Kong.
And surprisingly, this movie is more sexualized than even the 76 Kong, which is saying something.
That was awkward and kind of gross and weird. And but according to John, because this movie succeeds at having more pathos than the other 2, he actually thinks it's better.
I'm going to actually kind of agree with at least for Queen Kong. Queen Kong is not terrible, but there's very little in this world that's as emotionally crushing as a comedy that's not funny or a parody that's not funny. And Queen Kong is not a particularly funny film, although it very much tries to be. But
for what I understand, it thinks it's Monty Python, but it's not Monty Python.
It was really gunning for Monty Python. That's a weird. When are you going to do that one on the show, Nate?
What now?
As a fellow Brit, I just have to say that I am in favor of anything Monty Python coming onto the podcast. I think it would
Queen Kong is not Monty Python. If Monty Python did a King Kong parody, it would have been brilliant.
Mr. Marchand, I suggest that you quelch your tone immediately.
Anyway, maybe the Stockholm Syndrome is starting to set in with this, because I was actually a little bit surprised by the amount of pathos in this, and I felt like it was undeserved, so very undeserved. And there are even points, because the only time I've ever seen this before was the really, really shoddy version that we saw on Kaiju Quarantine 2. I don't remember the special effects actually looking anywhere close to decent, and somehow they do look decent, but then they also look awful. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. It's either decent or awful. There is no middle ground for this movie.
Tongue.
Bite my tongue for what?
The special effects in this movie are brilliant.
Explain.
What other movie takes the time and the money and the energy into creating a full-size inflatable Yeti nipple?
No, you had to go there.
There, Nate.
You had to go there.
Movie.
Oh, my gosh.
Another movie that does that.
Name another movie that would go through the trouble of hiring someone.
Yeah, that's a job description that they hired somebody for, dude.
That is on someone's resume in the world, and I want to meet this person.
No, you don't, because this nipple is neither human nor female.
That's the only issue you have with it.
Excuse me, are you assuming? Never mind. We're gonna leave it on.
Yeah, you don't want to go there. You don't want to go there because
slippery slope. Guys.
Yeah, that is a slippery slope. Also, that actor, his name is Memo Crow. I hope I said that right. He's definitely a dude. That is a dude's face. And you know what's funny? It was funny that apparently this guy was known for being handsome at the time. And you know what he had just been in before this movie? And he didn't have a whole lot of credits to his name.
Right?
No, he was in Jesus of Nazareth. I thought he was Jesus. I've joked about how this is Yeti Christ. He actually wasn't Jesus. He was the Apostle Thaddeus.
Yes.
So I've gotten it wrong all this time. You know what else he was in? He has a couple other titles to his name.
Mr. Marchand, who are you calling fat?
I didn't say anything about fat.
You said fat. You said fattius. Wasn't it?
No, Thaddeus. Thaddeus, man.
Oh,
yeah.
Quite. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Yes. But anyway, while we're here, while I've got your attention, I agree with Mr. Alexander. It was a very poignant point you made, good sir, about the nipple and the production of this film. In fact, I would dare to say that this is considered to be what? Nipple satsu? Maybe?
Nipple satsu. How many of those drinks have you had there?
What is he drinking? I thought he was supposed to be getting soft drinks.
Something that made the joke nipple satsu seem like a good idea to say out loud.
I have no idea what you're talking.
What was that?
Whoa! What?
I have no idea what you're talking about, Mr.
No. That was not your voice. What was that? That was not your accent.
Okay. Let's just get through this.
Somehow we ended up in Ireland for a second.
That was Ireland. Let's just get through this. But you know what else that Memo Crow was in? A little movie called Sex with a Smile.
It's Mimo.
Mimo. Okay, fine. Memo Crow was in another movie called Sex with a Smile. It's an anthology sex comedy.
Oh, that sounds splendid.
Yes. It is a sketch comedy anthology that highlights Italian sexual humor.
Interesting. I've never heard
which
of this
I
movie.
feel like is really just kind of like the flip side of the Yeti coin, because really I've always described Yeti as a 1970s porno, but without the sex. So it's like all the sex from Yeti just went into Sex with a Smile. And
where's the bloody fun in that?
You're not clinking the glasses. Who invited you on the show? You want to hear something about the director? His name is not Frank Kramer. I guess that was a stage name. It's Gianfranco Parolini. You know what this guy did? He did hit this. This is the only monster movie to this guy's credit. This guy was known for making spaghetti westerns like the Sabato trilogy, which gets advertised on the Blu-ray. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is. I had to look it up.
It does sound good.
The only thing that he can lay claim with that is that in the second one he had Yul Brynner. Yippee Skippy. And he also did sword and sandal flicks and crime dramas.
And he thought he could do a Yeti nipple movie. Good on him.
I mean, what did Honda do before he did Godzilla? Dramas. So,
what did Shusuke Kaneko do before Gamera?
Action movies.
Before that,
and young guy comedies.
Before that,
ultra porn.
You don't have to finish that sentence. It's fine.
Yeah, I've already talked about it, and my brain is fried. But you know what Fright.com had to say about this movie? Here's one for you. They didn't put this on the Blu-ray box. Here you go. Quote: an absolute jaw dropper. Even the most dedicated bad movie buff will be appalled by this hilarious abomination.
Wow. I mean, my jaw did drop on multiple occasions, and there were a couple of times where I forgot it was still dropped. I will be honest.
Yeah. Did the flies fly in? Yeah. Although we're pretty good about. I did
swallow something that was buzzing, and that's what actually alerted me to the open mouth situation.
Yeah. It might have been a baby megalon or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you got to get some bug trap set up in the screening room, man.
Yeah. But So just for the sake of facts, the movie was released December 23rd in Italy, 1977, and it came to America March 19th, 1980, and then it was re-released. It got re-released. Why was it re-released? Yes.
A fun fact, Mr. Marchand, December the 23rd is actually mine and my first wife's anniversary.
Oh, good for you. It's a week. It's like a week after Jimmy's birthday, I think. Anyway, and then it got re-released April 23rd, 1999. Well, I'm guessing nobody saw it because I never heard anything about this. And it was released by Miramax. It was on TV in May 19th, 1984 in America. Did they have to censor this?
I don't know. I feel like they probably would have had to trim some things out. Did John have any insight? I couldn't find any info on why it was re-released in 99. Did John have any info on that?
No, according to the notes here I have from Mr. George, that comes from Wikizilla.
Ah, I wonder, my theory on that is I think like every film studio on the planet was looking through their catalog and they were trying to find things that had 20th century in the title, and they were playing them in 99 because that's the last time they could say they played them in the 20th century.
Oh, either that or they were trying to be harbingers of the apocalypse. Anyway.
Yes. Also, I'm joking, by the way. That's not why they did it.
Yeah.
But it's...
Oh, but you want to know what's kind of funny? You know what's kind of funny? I talked about this briefly during The Conquest. There was
funny, Mr. Marchand.
Yes, there was. There's a lost Japanese King Kong movie called King Kong Appears in Edo. In 2012, there was a tribute to that movie made using footage from Yeti. They tried to pass it off as that.
That's interesting. The effects are actually rather similar, like the look of the creature with the very human face. Mm-hmm. The hair around the face. It's actually pretty similar.
I'll give Mr. Crow credit for one thing. He's an expressive actor.
He actually is. He's good.
Is very expressive, and he is a gorgeous man with a just lion's mane of hair that is just the most gorgeous hair that you can have. Is that actually his hair, or is that a wig?
No, that was his real hair.
I hope it was his hair.
It was not his real. It's almost like if you took a BG and Jason Momoa and put them in a blender.
Yeah, just Barry Gibb and Jason Momoa.
Wait, Danny. You're not advocating that this movie get remade with Jason Momoa, are you?
I am 100. You know what? Hollywood remakes good movies badly every year. Why not remake a bad movie and try to do it good? Remake Yeti. Giant of the 21st century. Call me Hollywood.
I would watch it.
Yes,
I would watch the heck out of it.
Hey, Sci-Fi Channel, they could do it. I mean, it wouldn't be good, but it would be fun.
Well, let's talk about some of the blatant similarities to Kong 76. So we have a Carl Denham type, and I can't remember.
I have one little tidbit that I wanted to mention here while we were going through just some of the facts about the movie.
Yeah.
When this movie was re-released, it actually was cut down to 1 hour and 36 minutes.
That's true.
Now, we can only imagine where the other 10 minutes of this movie went when they re-released, but I'm just, trying to figure out what 10 minutes they decided to cut from this movie.
What do you think?
I feel like this movie is almost 2 hours long. 1 hour and 40 plus minutes of this guy wandering around on it's processed into buildings behind him. There's a lot they could have trimmed. This movie is probably 40% fat that they could have very easily trimmed.
There, yeah, happy George.
There's a lot of long lingering shots of Canada landscapes.
Oh yeah, except it doesn't do for Canada what Lord of the Rings did for New Zealand.
Really? Because I feel like they're about on par, honestly. Made me want to visit Canada. It also made me hungry for lasagna.
Of course, do we even know if those parts were Canada and not Italy?
I couldn't tell you what scenes in this film were shot where.
Hey, Chris Cook, watch the movie and tell me which parts are Canada. Anyway, so like I said, we have a Carl Denham type, although he's more like the guy from Kong 76 because he's a businessman. What?
Mr. DiManna, will you do me a favor, please, sir? That tray of fruit there beside you. Will you grab?
Yeah, here it is.
Will you grab me an apple and bring it to me, please? I'm famished. Until my spaghetti gets here, I need a snack or something.
You have spaghetti. Never mind. Okay, apple. Here we go. Apple on the way. Here I come. Here you go.
Thank you, old boy. Yes.
Oh, you're very welcome. And back. Sorry about that, guys. Where were we?
I was going to talk about our kind of. He's not really the villain. That surprised me. He's this tycoon.
Yeah, the corpulent tycoon with the fuzzy hair.
Yeah. Who I swear is the unholy love child of Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor and Otis.
Actually, yeah. He might. Maybe they got put into blunder.
And how in blazes do they have Skype in the 1970s?
That's actually something that I was wondering while we were watching it. I was like, well, that's very, very interesting that they had that technology, even though I'm pretty sure they didn't have that technology.
Yeah, and not only that, we also have a guy who's like Jack from Kong 76, except I think he's a cop, and he's about as traitorous as Michael. In fact, he's one of the only people in the movie that, pretty girl, is okay with Yeti killing. Before that, she's like, no, he's gentle and nice and he doesn't hurt anybody. And then he starts murdering actual bad guys. And then she doesn't care.
I mean, considering what that guy and his henchmen tried to do to her and then did to the dog, I was kind of rooting for him to get squished too.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah. How about...
Excuse me, I just want to add, while we're talking about the girl in this movie, she's very attractive, yes.
We've already established that.
In fact, she's so attractive, she may even be more attractive than your pseudo sister.
You already brought this up.
We've been there. You've already harassed his sister before. What's going on in there?
I mean, she's just such a lovely creature.
Okay.
Yes. Anyway, we get it. We get it. I wish I could do that. Unfortunately, I'm not the producer. I can't shut off that mic. It's a design flaw.
You're stuck with me, Mr. DiManna.
Wait. Isn't Nate's sister a twin sister?
Pseudo sister. It's weird. Anyway, moving on. I don't even remember what I was talking about. Oh, we have we were talking about. Yeah, she
looked like you.
Yeah. Anyway, she. What were we talking about? We were talking about him murdering people.
We were talking
the dog. The dog. Here you go.
In this entire movie.
Okay,
yes.
Travis. Here you go. Hashtag justice for Angel.
The greatest actor in this entire movie is the dog. And I love this movie so much. I have listened to so many podcasts talk about this movie and I forget which ones have talked about what. And so I can't remember which exact podcast I heard this from, but somebody made the joke that the reason why the little brother doesn't talk through the entire movie is that they gave all of his lines to the dog. And I 100% believe that is what happened in this movie.
Well, even the dog is dubbed, right? And then and then they cross the line. They cross the line of no return. The bad guys kill the dog, so we think.
Yes, it looks like that. Oh my gosh! Also, like this is how I cope with animals getting hurt in movies because I'm a big softie and I don't like when dogs get hurt in movies or any animal. It's like that dog is just laying there taking a nap with ketchup on him.
Yeah. So this movie is so manipulative because it makes such a big deal. It lingers, has that lingering shot on the dog with blood all around it, and you see the knife go down. You don't see the knife go into the dog, but you hear you see the knife go down. You hear, you're just all of this, and it enrages Yeti, and he just goes ballistic over it, and then strangles a guy with his toes because squishing him was too good for him. That's the other infamous part of this movie. No, I'm pretty sure
we cannot gloss over tofu. He
That was quite good, Mr. Alexander. I like that.
That was good.
Yes, that was.
I was just gonna say, I'm pretty sure it's not that what really killed that guy was not the strangulation or the neck snapping or whatever. It's because he was smelling the toe jam. That's what did it.
Well,
It was death by odor. Malodorous.
That was not nearly as funny.
What?
That was not nearly as funny, Mr. Marchand, as Mr.
yeah.
Alexander's joke.
Oh, I'm sure. But that's the other crazy part of this movie. So then we go through all of that. And then the dog just miraculously out of nowhere shows back up within the last, 60 seconds of the movie and has a happy little reunion with Herbie, the little brother. And I'm just thinking, and it's got blood all over its chest. So like, how? Are you a Time Lord dog? Did you regenerate or something, Lassie? What is going on?
Nathan, switch to decaf, first of all. Second of all, I don't care how the dog survived. I'm just happy that this movie is impressively stupid.
What?
Wow. I can smell that in here. Good Lord. Anyway, yeah, this movie is really dumb. This movie is impressively dumb. It is not to be taken seriously, but I'm not gonna lie. When the dog was alive at the end, I took a sigh of relief that the dog was alive.
I know.
Somehow
it brings a tear to your eye.
It made me care.
It brings a tear to your eye.
I was crazy.
The dog lived.
The dog.
I'm just happy the dog lived.
The dog was rescued by the Yeti's magic healing powers. And
so he is
cannot
Yeti
change
Christ.
her mind.
Yeah, he healed the dog's wounds.
Well,
and changed its blood into ketchup.
Yes. Well, and I mean, Yeti also inexplicably started dying and needed medical attention. No explanation whatsoever. And then they just pump him with a bit more oxygen and he's miraculously okay again. So I guess he is Yeti Christ.
Yeah, well, no, they because he's dying because there's more oxygen up in the mountains where he's from than where he went, because everyone knows the higher you go up, the more oxygen there is.
You have to be high to like this movie.
Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, it's why you have to.
There it is again.
It's why you have to carry like things to get rid of the oxygen when you climb up a mountain.
Yeah. He thrives closer to the ozone and where there's more oxygen, and when he's lower down, his lungs aren't. It's the same reason, like if you take like a deep sea fish up to the surface, it'll just like explode. You know, like creatures that have bodies made for all that pressure can't go up to higher pressure or lower pressures towards the surface, or their bodies will just stop working. So that's what it. Listen, I'm not going to defend this movie too much. They did not do a good job of explaining this in the movie. We put more thought into it than they did. But the science does, if you squint and turn your eye, kind of turn your head sideways, the science does kind of check out. So
really?
No, not at all. No, it does. I'll give him some. No. I'm willing to throw this movie some bones because, like Travis, I too very much enjoy this stupid movie. I really do.
Some fish bones?
Oh my gosh, the fish scene. Listen.
Oh no.
I don't. That fish scene was grosser to me than the inflatable nipples.
It really was. It really was the most disgusting part of this movie, which is unbelievable.
It's amazing that you can take articulated rubber nipples and like that's not the worst part. The worst part. Yes. Oh my God, the giant fish bones and the kid pretending to eat this dead fish is the yes.
Mr. Marchand, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but will you please let the delivery man in? He's got my spaghetti.
The delivery man? Did you Grubhub or something?
I did. Yeah, I ordered something from the cafe. Yes, he's waiting at the door. Go,
if
hurry.
It's spaghetti, you sure it isn't Yeti noodles?
Just go and get the spaghetti, Nathan.
Yeah, what was that? Where's Jet when I need him?
Raging Jet Jaguar.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to add it in post because Jet went home to the mainland to visit Goro and Rokuro for the holidays.
Oh.
I don't care about
what?
damn robot. Just get me the spaghetti.
What? What was that?
You know what, Nate? Just go. Travis and I got this.
Okay.
Just go get the spaghetti. He's starting to, like, look at his eyes. He's unhinged. Go,
all right,
go.
All right, got it. Fine.
Go.
Going.
All right, Travis. Hi, how are you, man?
Yes.
How's it going? Are you terrified and uncomfortable? Because I am.
A little bit. Just
Okay.
a little bit.
Okay. Well, okay, I guess while he's gone, we can talk about, let's see. We talk about how all of the dialogue in this movie is off by like 4/5 of a second. Like, just it just doesn't match. It just doesn't.
So bad. I mean, we make fun of bad dubbing a lot on our podcasts and on our, and just on social media and stuff because we are fans of giant monster movies. But the dubbing in this movie is the worst that we've ever seen, and it's almost on the level of parody. It's so bad.
There are a couple, especially when there's like all the exposition dumping going on in the dialogue. The dialogue itself is just exposition city, and it's not in sync at all. Even though looks like they're speaking English. Most of the actors are speaking English in some of the scenes, but it still doesn't sync up. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the fact that there's a scene in this movie where the helicopter footage is obviously reversed? Like,
yes,
there's supposed to be gas leaking out of the Yeti tank, but it's being sucked back in, and the propeller blades are going in the wrong direction.
Yes. Oh man,
there's so much. There's so much. I love it.
It is a glorious. I've talked about this before on my podcast on Kaiju Weekly, and I think even actually an episode where Nate was on, where I don't like movies that are purposely bad, but when it's so obvious that they put effort into making a good movie, but fail so spectacularly. And this is just a great example of that. Like, effort went into this movie, but they failed so spectacularly that it is just like, it is a genius level. It is on a whole nother level.
I could not agree more. It is, like I said before, it is exceptionally, just amazingly dumb. It is such a crazy, it is a monument of ineptitude.
Did I just hear someone refer to this movie as genius?
You did. This is what happens when you have to go back people's DoorDash, Nate.
No wonder my ears felt like they were bleeding.
No, we're defending this movie right now. It's because this movie, like we were saying, is inept. It is objectively very poorly made. It is disturbing in weird ways. It is like weirdly. It's such a bizarre mixture of things. But the worst thing a movie can do for me is be trying to be bad on purpose and boring. And this movie, I don't think, is either of those things. It's not good, but it tried, and it is not a boring film. At least I don't think it's a boring film. And I find one of my favorite movies is Robot Monster. That's an inept movie, but I love it to death. I love that movie.
Yeah.
Well,
this movie is weird in a way that only the Italians can be.
Really?
Only Italian-made movies can be this bizarre and weird.
That is actually very, very true. And I can say that because if you can tell from my last name, I'm an Italian. So, I mean, DiManna is the most Italian thing you'll hear all day.
Is Chris Pratt going to play you in your biopic?
I sure hope so. That would be cool.
You know what? I bet. You know what? You know what? If you're gonna remake this and throw in Jason Momoa as Yeti, throw in Chris Pratt too while you're at it. I don't care.
Can Idris Elba voice his nipple?
God, no! I hate you so
that
much.
Yes.
Take the sex appeal up 50%.
You thought that nipple was hot stuff before. Just wait.
Well, you know what? I actually have a note.
Wait until Idris Elba.
You know what?
I've got to articulate it.
I've got a note on here that's actually along those lines. You notice how in true King Kong tradition, we have Yeti. What now?
Oh, man.
Mr. Marchand, they forgot to give me a napkin. Could you please be a dear and go to the break room and get me a couple of napkins? I'm sure that Mr. DiManna and Mr. Alexander can carry this conversation without you.
Okay, fine.
Toodles, Nate. Well, now that he's gone again. Oh my gosh. Oh man, what else can we talk about this movie? The fact that he roars with King Kong's roar. Like the 1970s.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, it's an old school dinosaur roar from the 50s that like every dinosaur ever has used. It's the same sound effect that Steven Spielberg used for the shark sinking at the end of Jaws and the truck going off the cliff in Duel. It's that roar, that dinosaur sound.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the sounds that the Yeti makes. And then the other sound sounds suspiciously like Titanosaurus. It's not, but it's got that screech. It's like, I think they used an elephant.
Yeah.
I think they must have used like a really ticked off elephant. I really don't know, but I hope no elephants were like poked with anything for the making of this film.
I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't put it past them. I hope not, but I wouldn't put it past them. This movie is so great, but the reason this movie works so well, which is weird to say, but it has to be the acting. I mean, we talked about Mimo, that his acting and facial expressions make this movie what it is. Because just like there's so many facial expressions going on in all of these scenes, and especially all of the, for lack of a better way of describing it, the bedroom eyes that he is constantly making towards.
Oh, welcome back, Nate. No, but you're completely right, Travis. Those eyes. I think his eyebrows like jump up and down at one point, and he's like, "Yeah,
yes,
yes." When she touches the nipple.
Oh, good. That is icky. I mean, the nipple itself is a whole grotesque can of upsetting nightmarish worms.
Do we want to talk about Do we want to talk about the angry faces he was made when, in true King Kong fashion, he hates flashbulbs on cameras? And I actually wrote down, yes, ladies, don't flash the Yeti. Actually, do flash the Yeti.
Oh, gosh.
Well, wait, before we move off the nipple... Before we move off the nipple, I do want to mention how, okay, we've talked about this inflatable nipple. We haven't mentioned the fact that Jane... Yes, her name is Jane, as in like
Tarzan
the ape man, and Jane.
It's not so.
Tears off bits of hair around his nipple.
Yeah, like she takes her hand back and it's got like matted, gross hair on it. It didn't look like she was pulling. It looked like she just kind of like put her hand up there, and then she was like, "Oh, why is it coming toward me?" And then took her hand off, and there was was he shedding? Like, was he, maybe, I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe he was really, like, really cold and, like, his hair was falling out. I don't know.
I feel like
I just love how as soon
as you pulled your hand away and nipple hair ripped away, that would not be a very comfortable situation.
Not
for anybody.
No, especially the viewer. Nate,
no one involved is comfortable.
No, Nate, you're making constipated moose sounds. Are you okay?
I would have rather watched a movie about a constipated moose.
Well, I'll do some digging through my collection and see if I can find
the constipated moose.
If anybody has it, I have it.
Why is there not a moose kaiju? Why can't Canada make a moose kaiju?
I don't know. There's probably a moose.
Rick Moranis would have voiced it.
Well, that would have been super great, eh?
Well, it would have been better. You guys were talking about the dialogue. You guys were talking about the dialogue. It would have been better than things like "you old brain box." What the frick kind of line is that?
Yeah, those two guys had some exceptionally terrible nicknames and rude things to say to each other, which is actually kind of funny because when the scientists ends up getting his brains rather graphically bashed in, and the leader of the company starts crying alone in his boardroom, it was actually like these guys seemed like they kind of had like a love-hate relationship, but when he died, he was actually very, very sad. And it's like, oh, that's cute. They're trying to make me care.
Well, there was also another line that I wrote.
Really beat the crap out of that old man.
Yeah, they
that was
did.
hard to watch. I kind of liked him too. I liked his character. He was like, these movies all have to have like the scientist who's, no, don't hurt the giant monster. I want to study him. He should be left alive. He's really gentle. Please don't bash my brains in. And then they bash his brains in. But that, I don't know. He didn't deserve to die. But they did.
Although I do question his dietary choices because there's a point in this movie where he's eating like a bean. Is it a bean soup type thing? And they describe it. It sounds like the most disgusting. Like look, my family's from Louisiana. We're Cajun. We eat anything. That bean soup sounded disgusting.
Maybe it's a Canadian thing. Who knows? Hey,
Maybe. Or it's an Italian thing. Italian and Canadian thing.
Please tell us.
Maybe. But there was also a line that I wrote down. I'm like, oh, that was actually hung up on the wall for a while. And then after my temporary producer's employers got outed, they took it down, which was philosophy has no place in science.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Placid philosophy has no place.
Thank you for your glowing introduction, Mr. Marchand. But I actually did find on the Google there is a movie called The Moose Movie, and the description is 2 park rangers and a young coroner's assistant in Alaska battle an ancient half-man, half-moose. So there is a moose kaiju movie. And I would actually like to hear more of Mr. Alexander's Cajun Creole recipes, because that sounds truly fascinating.
I mean, well, look, we down here near Louisiana, we always say if it swims, slithers, crawls, or flies, we'll eat it.
That covers most
delicious.
Bases.
There's a lot of things that swim and slither and crawl here on the island. I'm sure we can make soup out of them.
I don't. You know what? You may not want to do that because we don't want the kaiju rights activists at scale coming after us. Okay.
Oh, the kaiju rights activist.
What?
Wow. Whoa.
The kaiju rights activist has a fair place here on the island, and I respect them deeply. But if we can come up with some culinary dishes that would attract visitors, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, well, good luck trying to collect some turtle meat from Gamera, even though he's full of it.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that was so much better than mine. Anyway, I'm going to go into the booth and remove that bottle of whatever that
you will not.
No, I just want to look at it. I'm just going to bring it to the other room and.
Oh, really? I wanted to talk about the inconsistent size for the Yeti and everything else in the special effects.
Oh, I don't want to miss that.
We need to talk. We need to talk about the either very tiny Yeti or truly gigantic helicopter and that phone booth that they put Yeti in. What?
Speaking of inconsistent size, Mr. Marchand.
Oh, no.
That's all I have. I don't have any more jokes after that. I just wanted to call your attention to the inconsistent size of your hands.
That's what she said. Anyway, wow. So yes, inconsistent sizes. So sometimes Yeti is about 25 feet tall. Other times he's the size of Godzilla and can smash buildings and catch catch elevators poorly, I might add. So he ends up saving Jane from a disaster he caused. Irony.
I liked the elevator scene.
Yeah, it's probably the most exciting one on there, but this movie is also operating on the logic of if someone is falling off a building, as long as they don't hit the ground, they don't die. So if she hits Yeti's hand 6 feet above the street, she's totally fine. No, she would still be dead. She would be a big.
It works for Superman.
It's Superman logic.
Yeah, she would be the prettiest blood smear on his palm.
Yeah,
okay,
listen, it's not the fall that kills you. It's the sudden stop. You know? So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're falling into a poorly articulated puppet hand or a nice little real estate of cement on the sidewalk. She would not have had a spinal cord. She would be
that puppet
deeply
hand.
Dead. Very, very dead.
The puppet hand that she falls into, just a big, looking like it was just filled with sausage meat. Just I
think it was just made out of
sausages.
It's just made out of giant sausage.
It's just a big sausage hand.
No, this is an Italian movie. It's stuffed full of meatballs.
You're making me hungry, man.
Well,
You're
I
making
just
me hungry.
I just collected
pepperoni is.
I just
Yeah.
collected spaghetti for Mr. George at the door, so maybe you should talk to him.
I don't really want his British cooties.
Well, good choice. But anyway,
I might
inconsistent
catch his
sizes.
smarm.
Please.
But the spaghetti is delicious, Mr. Marchand.
I'm sure
sorry,
it
Mr.
is.
DiManna. I'm so sorry,
Yeah,
Mr. DiManna.
I'm Mr.
yeah.
DiManna.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know
it's
how
great.
you can get the two of us mixed up.
You're all looking the same at the moment.
Yeah, I'm
well,
not
that's
surprised.
There's probably like 6 of us too in his eyes. So I mean,
Yeah.
you know what, Mr. George, you racist bastard. We all
How
look the
dare
same.
you, Mr. Marchand? I am not a racist bastard. You're a racist bastard.
That's the best you got? Okay, Pee Wee Herman, I know you are, but what am I?
Wow. You know what? No, I'm breaking this up right now. We need to stay on topic and talk about Yeti.
Speaking of bloody pee-wee, you and your small hands.
Hey,
you
what?
Little
Wait, what?
Wow.
What? What?
Travis, I think you and I think this might be the end. I think it might be time for us to.
No, I
excuse
want to
ourselves.
talk about the phone booth.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the Yeti TARDIS, okay?
Okay, we can talk about the Yeti TARDIS. Okay.
Because
Let's talk
it's
about the Yeti
obviously
TARDIS.
bigger on the bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, or because that helicopter should be huge, or Yeti should be like 10 feet tall.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It's like about the same size as the helicopter. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
The scaling in this, my favorite bad scaling shot in the whole movie is when he's carrying the girl and walking down the street, and you can see that the people on the ground come up to his knees, but the girl in his hand is barely it's like very, very small in his hand. So like if that had been accurate, the girl in his hand would have been like 3 feet tall.
Yeah.
If that, or
Yeah.
less. It's completely ridiculous. It looks like a guy carrying a doll, because it is
It really
in
does.
terms of scaling, it doesn't look. It
Yeah.
doesn't look
Also,
right.
speaking of tiny people on the street, do we want to talk about how Yeti has groupies?
Yeti does have groupies.
Yes.
I would have totally been a Yeti groupie in the
Yes.
70s.
I would have been wearing one of the shirts that has the Yeti hands over my chest and
Yes.
screaming
That's-
Yeti.
That says
That's
"Kiss
like
me,
all those
Yeti" on
other
the
ones.
back.
Dude, Yeti
Kiss
Woodstock.
me, Yeti.
Kiss me, Yeti. I'm all
Yeti
yours.
Woodstock.
Yeti Woodstock. Here's a good question. If Yeti has groupies and Michael is the Kaiju groupie, is Michael also a Yeti groupie?
Well, if he were
Because
here,
Yeti
we
is a
could ask him.
Kaiju.
No.
I will say that. I won't
No,
argue.
He's a Clifford groupie.
Obviously. But see,
That is true.
here's the thing. Unlike Clifford, I will argue that Yeti is a Kaiju.
Okay, back that one up. I'm curious.
Well, he's got the size, he's got the strangeness for sure.
Okay.
And apparently he has bizarre powers because he can magically heal a dog and come back from the dead.
That is fanon. That has not been confirmed. You know what? If it were confirmed that the Yeti has magical dog healing Jesus powers, then I would 100% support that, because you can't tell me that's not the most amazing thing ever put into a movie. But I don't know. I kind of believe it, but I don't know. I don't see the proof.
Well, you know what else is kind of amazing? They have a Stryker from Mortal Kombat in this, and he's still a cop.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
He was apparently slumming it before he got to Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Also, this especially at the end, this movie actually proves that little boys like Herbie need to be seen and not heard.
Wow.
I've been sitting on
Kenny bastard.
I've been sitting on that joke for a while.
I can tell. I can tell. Herbie. Dude, there was a
They
scene
say his name like
early in this
50
movie.
million times.
I know. I'm going to keep track next time I watch. There's a scene in this movie where I swear there's when the sister turns around and says Herbie, there's a car driving behind the little kid, and I was like, "Are you talking to the car? Is that the Herbie?
Herbie fully loaded.
Fully loaded. Loaded.
Also, how the heck do you miss how the heck do you miss a giant monkey with an RPG?
Yeah, that it almost takes more skill to be that terrible at shooting an RPG than it would to just shoot the monkey.
Monkey.
Oh my gosh, though. That was a Like he was looking right at it, and it wasn't even close. It just went like way off in the corner.
Oh, but since we're on the subject of monkeys, because apparently I need to get through this, would you like a quick little history about Yeti cryptids?
Oh, is this our Toku topic? Did we
call it? You can call it that. Okay. Apparently, the research had to be done.
We're gonna learn about the Yeti.
We'll learn about the Yeti.
Yeah,
it's like the '96 movie Werewolf that was done on MST, where they keep calling it a warwolf. Oh, God. And nobody can keep track of this. Nobody can keep track. It's like that's absolutely fascinating. You're telling me there's a werewolf?
What?
A werewolf?
Did this movie star Tommy Wiseau? What?
Oh, it was Tommy. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That, honestly, this is about room levels of disaster piece. I mean, it's not quite at that majestic.
Oh no! Oh no! You're not gonna add Tommy. You're not gonna add Tommy Wiseau to your cast list for your Yeti remake, are you?
Are you kidding me? That would be the best decision I could possibly make as the creator of this remake. That would be amazing.
Tommy was. Who would he play? Who would Tommy Wiseau play? Who would Tommy?
Oh man! Yes, yes, please. Oh, hi, doggy. You got shot. You got ketchup on you. He's shot. Look at the nipple. He's got. You're
tearing me apart, Yeti.
You're tearing me apart. He's a little nipple. Look at his little baby face.
Would Tommy Wiseau be the scientist?
Tommy Wiseau would play every character, including the Yeti.
No, we need Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa is the Yeti. I already have that set in stone. He's the Yeti.
And we need to have Chris Pratt as the traitorous detective.
The voice of the dog.
The voice of the dog.
The voice of the dog.
Yes. And we already have Idris Elba playing not the left nipple, just the right nipple, because that's the only one in the film where they get the close up. Because God knows they didn't have the budget to build two expanding articulated.
So in order to save on money, Tommy Wiseau plays the rest of the cast.
I think Tommy Wiseau plays either the scientist or he has a cameo in as the leader of the company. He's the guy who's like, oh hi, I need you to go to the Himalayas and get a little Yeti. I found a big monkey. The monkey's a big monkey. I want you to go get monkey, huh? And he goes and gets the monkey. That he could do that. Oh hi, monkey. He could do that. You know, either that or he plays every role that isn't Chris Pratt or Jason Momoa.
Oh no.
I happen to be a big fan of Pauly Shore.
Oh, God.
So I'm wondering where Pauly Shore would fit into this equation.
Oh, she's the Godzilla. Anyway, really, Yeti really cryptids, cool. Anyone?
Are we going to talk about the chupacabra?
Chupa thingy? No.
Yes, the chupacabra. The chupacabra. The thing that's not on the island, but we want to bring it here.
Wait. Did you find Jimmy's stash?
Oh, I brought my own stash, Mr. Marchand.
Oh, good Lord. Just what I need.
Wait, Jimmy has a mustache now?
No, Jimmy has a wonderful stash of Jack Daniels in the green room.
I'm amazed you would want it.
Is there someone we can call about this to get him out? I don't think he should drive home.
Well, they're all hearing it now.
I mean, hey, if anyone out there wants to come and help him, don't let him drive. Maybe take him home.
Drive? We don't have roads here on the island.
I'm fine, Mr. DiManna. Thank you for your.
We're calling him a Kaiju Uber.
A Kaijuber.
Yeah. Oh, you mean Uber Mogra?
Kaijuber.
Which reminds me of my second wife. She was a real cougar.
Oh, good Lord.
Well, that certainly is nice, Mr. We got to get him out of here.
Yeah, we do, because I'm not sure if he means that metaphorically or she was in Cats, but
I don't want to stick around to find out. Let's talk about Yetis and get this guy out of here.
Well, I tell you what, there was one pussy that pleased me. That's
good Lord. Moving on.
Jaguar, where are you?
He went back to the mainland. I told you already. Anyway,
come back to the island.
So anyway. The funny thing is from what I can tell looking at these notes, that the Yeti in this movie is not too far off from how people have described it when they think they've seen it, except the one in the movie is a heck of a lot bigger.
They describe him as Andy Gibb, but with a hair diaper?
Yes. Yes.
Speaking of being bigger.
Oh, no.
It's just talk over them.
When I visited the when I visited the Empire State Building, I was quite amazed of how big it actually was. It was a very impressive building, quite right. Yes.
Yes, yeah, I know. I've been there too. Anyway, so yeah, they actually say it's dark grayish, reddish brown, about 200 to 400 pounds. It's a little smaller than the Bigfoot. The Bigfoot's supposed to be about 6 feet tall. Some people also think it's a quadruped and not a biped. There's a little bit of confusion. And the Yeti goes all the way back to ancient legends of folklore from the Himalaya people. And in those stories, the Yeti is a figure of danger. And the moral of the story is a warning to avoid dangerous wild animals and stay close to your community. And fun fact, when Alexander the Great moved into that area during his great conquest in 326 BC, he demanded the local people in the Indus Valley to show him a Yeti, and they couldn't find one because they said it couldn't survive at such a low altitude. There you go. What was that? Oh, good Lord.
Okay, let's just keep going.
1921, a journalist by the name of Henry Newman interviewed some British explorers who went on a Mount Everest expedition, and they claimed that they saw very large footprints that they attributed to the Meto Kongmi, which means man-bear snowman. The literal translation of Meto was filthy, and he decided to go with abominable because they thought it sounded better. So that's where the name came from. Funny thing, Yeti is not on the island, but we do have the snowman and his kid.
Okay, that's actually going to be my next question. Is the Yeti actually here?
Nope. Yeti is still hanging out in the Canadian wilderness, and he can stay there. Anyway.
Okay.
Two hikers claim
I heard it gets quite nippy up there. Thank you. I earned that one.
Two hikers claimed they saw a Yeti in 1942 and gave a description, like as it matches the movie. March 1986, a guy named Anthony Woldridge, who went hiking in the Himalayas, and he thought he saw a Yeti standing in the snow about 500 feet away. Didn't make any noise, and it didn't move. He took photographs, and they've been analyzed and found to be genuine, but now people just think it was just a rock formation that he saw. Disappointed a lot of people.
That is disappointing.
Yep.
One of these days, we're going to find you, Yeti. We're going to get you on camera. We're coming for you, man.
Sure. You know who else was very interested in Yetis back in the day? Sir Edmund Hillary. You might know him as one of the first men to scale Mount Everest. Claimed he found
the first person to reach the top.
That's right.
Along with Tenzing Norgay.
Yeah.
He claimed that he found a scalp of the beast, which, it's helmet shaped. Turned out that it was actually from an animal called a siro, which is a Himalayan animal, kind of like a goat. I don't know how you get a goat and a monkey mixed up, but sure. And he was a big advocate for for finding Yeti, and then the Canadians found him, I guess. In 2007, an American TV host named Josh Gates claimed he found footprints. A lot of people over the years, including Mr. Hillary, have claimed that they have found footprints. That's one of the most common things people find for Yeti and Bigfoot is footprints.
Okay, I want to take a break here for just a second and just say, Josh Gates, I can't stand the man.
I've never heard of him, so...
He hosts a lot of TV shows on like Discovery, History, whatever channel that he hosts. Expedition Unknown is his most well-known show that he does, but he does a bunch of shows like that. He does actually have like a doctorate from an accredited school in archaeology of some kind. I forget specifically what he focuses on, but he's more of a TV guy and very much just annoying, and his style of going out and trying to discover these like ancient creatures and beasts and stuff is to wander out into the woods, scream, "Hey Yeti, are you here?" And when it doesn't answer him, he's like, "We haven't found any evidence of it in this location."
Apparently he needs to go to the Canadian wilderness then.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Those
I can't stand the guy.
those shows are I find them entertaining and like a not great kind of way. Like I love a good documentary where like somebody will go out into the wilderness and try to actually, try to prove the existence of something that hasn't been seen before. I love that kind of stuff. But when you have these guys go out there and they're just like, hello, Yeti, are you there? You're like, do you exist? If you exist, please clap twice. Like why? Good luck with that.
Yeah, like it reminds me of someone in this room. Anyway, it also explains why the footprints he found are not on display in a museum. They're on display in Disney World.
Oh, that's right. They're in Expedition Everest, which is okay. So here's my tangent that is kind of funny. So I had a funny moment while I was watching this movie, listening to all the disco music that was going on. It reminded me Expedition Everest ride at Disney World, where they have it's a roller coaster. I've never been on it myself, but you get on a roller coaster and you're supposed to be going up the Himalayas, and then this big Yeti attacks you, and it's like a 25 foot. I don't remember how tall it is, but it was at the time the biggest audio animatronic ever built on planet Earth. And it's this huge animatronic Yeti, but unfortunately its movements were so crazy and erratic the way it was programmed that it actually started damaging the infrastructure of the ride in the mountain. So they had to turn it from A mode into B mode, where it didn't move as much, and then they flashed strobe lights on it to make it look like it was moving. And that's still how it is today, all these years later. And Disney fans call it Disco Yeti.
I've actually been on the ride. It's a much more frightening looking Yeti than what we got in the movie.
It's kind of horrific.
It barely moves.
Yeah,
it does. It used to move like it was alive. It looked amazing I mean, I've never seen it in person, but I've seen videos of it being developed, and it was really impressive. But it was actively destroying the mountain, and they can't fix it because they built the Yeti into the mountain, so they'd have to rip most of the mountain out, and it would cost them quintillion dollars or something ridiculous. So they say they're gonna do it one day, but it's been I don't know how many years since that ride went up, and they haven't fixed Disco Yeti yet. So Disco Yeti is kind of a running joke for Disney people.
Well, there you go.
Yes.
Anyway, there were some hunters in China in 2010 thought they found a Yeti, but it was kind of like a bear. Then upon examination, turned out to be a civet, which is a cat.
Jeez, I mean, a lot of people think, we caught a Yeti. Sorry, it was just a rabbit.
Oh, here's one for you. They found a severed finger in a monastery in Nepal, and it was examined at the Edinburgh Zoo. Oh, well, maybe our friend in the booth might know something about this. In 2011, turned out it was actually a monk finger.
Oh, so not a monkey, but just a monk.
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
So the thing in the monastery was actually a whole hand. And there's an interesting story involved with that hand and them trying to smuggle it out of Nepal, because the people who have the monastery, who run the monastery, are not
it's the Pang Bochi hand. That's what it's called.
Yeah,
it's in India,
and there's still debate on whether the hand that is there is actually the original hand at all, or if it was actually stolen and never replaced, because it was stolen at one time and then they thought it was replaced, brought back. But there's still thought that it might be just like chicken bones that are tied together and made to look like a hand.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Oh, so is that not the one? Is that the one that Jimmy Stewart tried to smuggle in 1959?
Yes, I think so. I think it is the same hand that Jimmy Stewart actually was famous actor Jimmy Stewart was involved in trying to smuggle out of the country of Nepal.
Like, why don't they make that into a movie? That that'd make for a very interesting thriller, wouldn't it?
The great Yeti heist.
Basically,
that would be great.
But
it is really an interesting story, and his wife was involved in it, because his wife is like, we'll put it in my suitcase, because back in the 50s, if they did do luggage checks, which they didn't do very often, they would not check women's undergarments because of just indecency. And so she was like, well, we'll just smuggle it in there. So it's like, we're going to smuggle a Yeti hand in women's underwear.
Yeah. It's not a cryptid hand in your undies.
It's So
Or you just
so
like it
and
to
so instead of a human hand touching a Yeti nipple, it's a Yeti hand touching a human nipple.
She's not wearing the underwear at the time. We're not going there.
No, she stuffed it in her bra like you do, like wads of cash whenever you know.
Anyway, did you know that Moldor Russia actually held a conference? I guess you could say a con for Bigfoot experts in Siberia. 2011 claimed they had 95% indisputable proof of a Yeti. Turned out, and then a bunch of American professors proved it was a hoax.
Yeti can't catch a break.
No, he can't.
It's always like
and it's funny that
something.
Yeah, and then it's funny that you brought up the thing about the necklace of bones, but there was an Oxford geneticist in 2013 named Brian Sykes, got a whole bunch of stuff, like 57 samples of DNA with things like teeth and hair and other things, and he was examining all of them to see if they were actually Yeti DNA or not, and turned out that most of them were familiar animals like cows, although he did discover that one of the teeth belonged to a Pleistocene polar bear.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Not quite Yeti cool, but it's still pretty cool.
Yeah. By the way, the Himalayas, where these things are supposed to be seen, is in Tibet, Russia, Nepal, India, and some people think that Yetis are what is it called? Gigantopithecus.
Gigantopithecus.
Yeah,
Same thing with Bigfoot.
Yeah, a prehistoric ape that lived in Asia 300,000 years ago.
Yeah, that's actually.
But the problem with that is Gigantopithecus lived nowhere near the mountains.
Yeah, they were lowland critters
in the subtropic kind of lowland areas of Asia, not mountain, forest, and like tundra areas.
And they could have adapted over the years and grown thicker. For a lot of animals have done that. Bears didn't originally come from the Arctic, and eventually, most bears that are around right now are descended from the same genus as the grizzly bear, and then the grizzly bear split off into multiple different groups, and then some. I want to say, I don't remember what the exact number is, but polar bears and grizzlies are genetically very, very close to being the same animal. They're just they've got one of them has more blubber and fur that catches UV a little bit differently.
Yeah,
but it could have been like that. Animals move to adapt all the time, but the problem is that apes are not very adaptable, especially if they've been in one location for a long time. It's one of the reasons that deforestation actively just renders apes close to extinction, is because you can't just say, "Hey, chimpanzee, leave this forest and go live in a desert or in a grassy field." It just doesn't work like that. They're so suited to where they live that if their habitat goes, so goes the habitat, so goes the species. So it's possible that maybe early human hunting or habitat change or something like that might have driven ancient primates up to the mountains. But it's certainly possible, but it seems like it would be a lot of adapting very, very quickly. But it's an interesting theory.
Yeah, well, Yetis are also in Buddhist mythology. They're peaceful creatures, and they're very shy. Well, that explains a lot, doesn't it? Yeah, they lived in snow caves and glaciers on the Ganges River. Most of the sightings now are apparently not in Canada. They're on K2. And apparently the name Yeti comes from a word that's the word yeta, which means rock thing. Ah!
Rock thing.
And in pre-Buddhist cultures, there was a glacier giant that was worshipped by the Lecha people. There's even Tibetan and Nepalese monasteries that have skulls and bones of Yetis. And now some of them in the Smithsonian.
Yes.
There's a lot of them out there too. There's a lot of monasteries and remote areas that claim to have various body parts of these things. And it's kind of crazy how, depending on where you go in the world, there are legends of ape-like creatures that are venerated. I mean, you were just talking about the Yeti. If you go to North America, there are a lot of Native American tribes that talk about Sasquatch in the same way as kind of this wise thing, that you don't see often, but it's there supposedly.
Well, yeah, they do talk about hairy men,
hairy animal men, not necessarily ape people, but just hairy wild men.
Yeah, there's a lot of there was a lot of stuff about that from what I'm seeing in these notes.
A lot of people think that the word Sasquatch kind of comes from Native American word that's been taken to, apply to this animal that we know of as Bigfoot. That's not actually the case. Sasquatch was actually invented by someone in the modern day. It was actually it was not that long ago that word was actually created and started being used. So it's kind of like the skinwalker thing. Like people say, oh, the skinwalker has been part of Native American culture for such and such amount of time. It's like, no, skinwalkers are a thing that was created fairly recently by people who just want to use Native American kind of like the mysticism of the weird native people to sell something very crazy and weird. But we talk about like modern day sightings. I was just online looking at the news the other day, and just like 2 days ago, there was a Bigfoot sighting in Georgia that was filmed and was put online for people to see and examine.
Oh, wow.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Well, this would normally be the part where I tell Jimmy to find that and put it in his notes, but he's not here.
No. It's still to this day what?
It's still to this day. People are seeing things like the Yeti and Bigfoot and stuff. And it's just like 2 days ago was posted online.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's funny that you bring up. Oh, no.
Oh, my gosh. He's awake?
Don't worry, Mr. Marchand. I am looking up the Georgia Bigfoot as we speak, and I will put it in my notes.
You're going to do the notes too?
Whatever we do without you.
Yes, I'm going to do the notes as well. Oh, see, I am.
We all know what you are.
Yes. By the way, it's funny that you bring up the stuff about the word Sasquatch. Did you know that according to these notes, in 2003, there was a Japanese researcher and mountaineer named Dr. Makoto Nobuka who did a 12-year linguistic study on the word Yeti.
12 years?
Yes. And he thought that it was a corruption of the word Meti, which is a regional dialect term for bear in Tibet. But then a bunch of people immediately jumped on him and said no. In fact, they even said, one guy said, Dr. Raj Kumar Pandry actually said, quote, "It is not enough to blame tales of the mysterious beast of the Himalayas on words that rhyme but mean different things."
That's interesting.
That is a good point. That is a good point. Because words that get corrupted in language are not just words that rhyme and get twisted like that. Like, it's more of how meanings of words get adapted over time and get twisted.
And then just for fun fact right here, the first Yeti sighting was in 1832 by James Prinsep. No, excuse me. No, it was published in his Journal of Asiatic the Journal of the Asiatic Society of Bengal. It was a trekker in northern Nepal who said he saw a bipedal creature with long dark hair. They thought it was an orangutan. Here's something for you. This sounds eerily similar to another movie that I covered on this show, but this technically predates it. How's this for you? Where does this come from? This comes from the Cryptid Wiki, because there's a wiki for everything. But, thanks, Mr. George, for perusing the Cryptid Wiki for us. Quote, on February 2nd, 1959, 9 hikers camped out in a mountain pass, which would soon be named Dyatlov Pass. It's in Russia. Leading the group was...
the Dyatlov Pass.
Yeah. Leading the group was Igor Dyatlov. This strange happening occurred in the Ural Mountains on the east face of Kholat Sigal. I hope I said that right. Russia.
It's the Ural Mountains.
Yeah. Ural Mountains.
It's the Ural Mountains. So the Dyatlov Pass, I actually know a lot about the Dyatlov Pass.
Oh, do you?
So
tell us about it.
Yeah. So Yeti has been put up as one of the explanations for what happened there, but it's like it's on the same level of like the people who put up aliens as the explanation for what happened. So
wait. So we need to make that meme with the crazy hair guy from the History Channel. Instead of aliens, it says Yeti.
Yeti.
That's right.
Yeti.
This is a crazy story, by the way. This is a crazy story.
Yeah. So Danny, you know about the Dyatlov Pass?
Yes.
Yeah, basically
it's really famous.
All the hikers.
So these 9 hikers, they're all in their 20s. I think one of them was in their late 30s, early 40s. They all head up to the Ural Mountains, to this area that is not inhabited, and it's not habitable because of the just aridness of it. And they're experienced mountain climbers. They've done this before. They go up to these mountains, they make camp, and at some point they disappear. And for a long time, nobody knew what happened to them. When they finally, send people up to try to find them, they do find a few of their bodies spread out away from the campsite. The tent from the campsite was cut from the inside, and their bodies were all damaged and beaten, and some of them were missing clothing and things like that. And it looked like they had basically been attacked by something. But it's actually a very interesting story of how they came across, or how they came to the conclusion of what actually happened. They only came to a conclusion of what actually happened during that event this year or last year. I think it was this year was when they announced they think they figured out what happened. And it was actually because of Disney, going back to Disney.
What?
So the Disney animators had to write a program for animating the movie Frozen that actually created snow and basically taught the computer how to produce snow and make snow move in a realistic way. And this person who studies snow drifts and avalanches and everything saw the movie Frozen, was like, hey, this is actually really realistic. I'd love to know, what algorithm you used, what kind of math you used to tell the computer how to do this. And then they applied it to the snow around, or what was, there in the conditions in the Dyatlov Pass on that night. And they've actually think that what happened was that these hikers built their campsite in an area with unstable snow, which ended up crashing down, kind of like a mini avalanche, but it wasn't a full avalanche, but a mini avalanche that crashed down, buried them in the snow. That's why they cut themselves out. And because of a combination of hypothermia, so you have your paradoxical undressing, and getting lost in the middle of the night in a snowy area with no sources of light, and falling down ravines, because a few of them was found at the bottom of a ravine. It kind of explains all of the things that were unexplainable in the bodies that they found, of all of these 9 hikers. The only thing that wasn't explained is one of the bodies was radioactive, and that's still never been 100% explained.
Oh,
yeah.
Darn it.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is nuts. And I don't see any of that in the research. I think my new producer is dropping the ball.
I think he's just dropped off the ball entirely. And no longer
quite possibly.
I hope he heard that, though.
Although, like I was hinting at, this sounds eerily similar to Half Human to me, but this was several years after Half Human.
The whole Dyatlov Pass incident seems creepy when you hear the story. Like when you hear the story and you just hear the way it's told by a lot of people, it sounds so creepy. These hikers go up there, they disappear. When they're found, their bodies are beaten and mangled, and there's something wrong with them, almost like they were attacked by something and brutally beaten by something. But then the more you look into it, it's like, no, this is just what happens to a body when it falls or gets crushed by snow, and it becomes less creepy the more you actually read about it.
Was he trying to get attention? I heard a clink. Yeah.
I was just trying to say
what?
That I was thoroughly entertained by what Mr. Alexander was saying.
What was it?
You don't understand the words that are coming out of my mouth.
I understand, but that you don't sound the same. Are you okay?
It's fine. Just leave me alone. It's fine. But I was thoroughly entertained by what Mr. Alexander was saying.
Time out.
Nate, he wants to be left alone. Just shh.
Okay.
Just leave me alone, Nate. What are you talking about?
Okay. Anyway, the Discovery Channel hosted a special about this with the hyperbolic title of Russian Yeti, The Killer Lives. That's right up there with Ankylosaurus, Killer of the Living. Of the Living.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's basically all that from these notes that I really want to go through because I am done. So freaking done talking about this movie.
Man, see, I think I could keep going for another couple hours talking about how much this movie is awesome. I don't think you could survive it.
You're a little bipolar there. What? You wanted us to leave you alone. What do you want?
I command you, Mr. Marchand, on behalf of the Monster Island Board of Directors, you are to talk about this film for at least, oh, bloody hell, what the hell's time is it? Another 45 minutes.
You know what? No.
How dare you disobey the Board of Directors, Mr. Marchand?
You're not in your right mind. You are drunk.
How dare you say I'm not in my right mind, oh boy? I am perfectly in my right mind.
No. You are clearly drunk. In fact, you are so drunk.
No, how dare you say I'm clearly drunk? I am not clearly drunk. I am the producer of the Monster Island Film Vault, with on behalf of the Monster Island Board of Directors. It's fine. It's fine. I promise it's fine. It's fine.
Wait.
I promise
hold on.
It's fine.
Hold
it's
on.
Fine.
Are you Scottish?
No, you. I'm not Scottish. No. Well, maybe a little bit on my mother's side. I'm a little bit Scottish on my mother's side.
Are you kidding me? You have been fooling all of us for how long now? A year into thinking that you're some posh British man, and you're actually...
you. I'm just some Scotsman that just happened to be locked out into some job here on the island. I've had them all full. I've had all these little fools for so long.
But it's from your mother's side, so you're half Scottish.
Yes, I'm half Scottish, Mr. Marchand.
Someone a little ashamed of his heritage there?
No, I'm not ashamed of my heritage. I had to pretend like I'm some posh British man so I could get into university.
Oh, I'm sure. Does watching Braveheart rip your brain in half? I'm sure it does.
Watching Braveheart makes me, actually tickles my pickle, to be honest with you.
Oh, good Lord. That's more than I needed to know. And he's pouring himself some more. All right, gentlemen, are we ready to wrap this up? Because this is coming off.
I'm set to go. I'm ready to go. Let's go. Let's finish this.
Do we want to do one of my favorite segments, or do we just want to breeze right through it and just get this over with?
Let's just get it over with, man.
Okay, so you know what? It's time for let's do our Patreon shout-outs here. Okay, you ready? We've had some shakeups in the Patreon department here. Well, first off, we need to shout out Mr. Alexander. You're one of the patrons, and then your co-host Michael, who's playing the part of Judas today. Yes.
I demand to be a part of the, what the f*** did you call it? The Patreon
Patreon shout-outs. You want to shout out a few people?
Yes, I will shout.
Okay.
You give me a name and I'll shout him out. Yes.
Okay. Eric Anderson. He's our newest one.
Eric Anderson. Welcome to the party, Eric Anderson.
Oh,
you're a wonderful patron. Thank you.
Oh, good Lord. This is, we definitely ran right up to an R rating there. And Danny, you're a patron too.
Hi, I'm a patron. Next.
We are coming off the rails. We have Eli Harris as well. I can't even play the sounder because I think our buddy over there, Mr. Drunk Scotsman, he's got control of that.
Oh, hang on. I've got where's the button for this thing?
Yeah, now he can't even find it, obviously. And then Chris Cook, who's been mentioned several times because sort of Canadian movie. Bex from Redeemed Otaku, who would probably not appreciate the language today. And Damon Noise, obviously. And it was one of the most adamant of our patrons, the Cellcast, and my personal favorite, Tofu Fury, which I still think needs to be a real movie.
That's true. You know what? Before we move on, I have to do that one. That one's just fun.
Okay.
Tofu Fury.
Yeah, there you go.
Now we can
he gets
go.
he gets a little extra. And I can't. What is it now?
I just want to add that Mr. Damon Noyce is a wonderful human being, and so is Bex. Bex is a beautiful woman, and she's got a charming personality. And I'm glad that she took care of your beautiful, if there be sexy, suitor sister.
Oh my gosh, she is.
Let's wrap this up, guys. I am uncomfortable.
She is going. I think she's going to lightning laser you right through the face. I'm just telling you right now.
I might like it. I'm not going to lie.
You'll also be dead anyway. I need to mention. I don't have the sounder because the drunk idiot in the producer booth has that.
Who are you calling a drunk idiot?
You heard me. But anyway, I would normally.
It's your producer Jimmy who's passed out on the floor.
Oh, he admits it. Anyway,
you just admitted to what you did to Jimmy, and everyone heard you.
Congratulations, you made the same mistake your bosses did.
I did all kinds of stuff to Jimmy, and he liked it.
I'm fake news. At least I hope that's fake news.
Okay, moving on.
Yes. Anyway, I can't play the sounder for it, but I do need to let everybody know season 3.
Yes, we know. We heard.
Starts next month. And it'll be Amerikaiju. Our first episode for Amerikaiju is going to be The Lost World from 1925. And my what? Yes. And my guest will be Ryan the Omniviewer Collins, a very popular YouTuber. He's been on the show before. What?
Ignore him. Keep talking.
Yes.
Just ignore him. Keep talking.
All right. And then Godzilla Redux continues with Rodan from 1956. And I'm going to have Kaiju Kim on.
Mr. Marchand. I'm talking. You have to listen to me when I'm talking because I'm your superior. I'm your. Oh, me.
I thought this was a Yeti episode, not a Loch Ness episode.
I'm starting to wonder. Anyway, I'm sure the Nessie's his favorite. Nessie's still in Scotland. They won't move Nessie out of the loch.
Nate, let's.
Anyway, you guys need to do your shameless self-promotion now. Do it.
Okay, Travis, you go first.
You can listen to me on Kaiju Weekly, a weekly podcast that introduces you to the wide world of giant monster movies with my co-host Michael, and I also host the Henshin Men podcast with Nathan Marchand, and we go through different tokusatsu superhero shows and their high-flying and high-kicking adventures. Currently, we're going through Kamen Rider. Go check us out there, and also check out KaijuRamenMagazine.com because that's where you can find out more about Kaiju Ramen Magazine.
Mm-hmm. Newest issue just came out. Congratulations. Issue 4.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right, Danny, what do you got?
I am the author and creator of the Godzilla Novelization Project, an ongoing creative endeavor to novelize every Japanese Godzilla film and share the resulting books 100% free, by the way, online with Godzilla fans around the world who'd like to read them. I am writing books. I am writing short stories. By the time this episode comes out, the first part of an adaptation of The Birth of Godzilla from Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah will be out for people to read. I am also doing Godzilla timelines. I am also writing Godzilla-related blogs for this website. I also host the Monster Musings podcast for GNP Patreon members. So if you want to chat with me about Godzilla, look me up on Twitter, look me up on Facebook, Godzilla Novelization Project at gmail.com if you want to send me questions or have a long-form conversation with me. If you'd like to be a patron and listen to my super nerdy podcast, you can go to look up the Godzilla Novelization Project on Patreon and join for as low as $1 a month. And oh my gosh, what else? I feel like I need to rush through this. If you want to read the original 1954 Godzilla novelization written by Shigeru Kayama, my buddy Robert Montserrat and I translated it into English last year, so that's online. Look up projectkayama.wordpress.com to read that. I'm very uncomfortable and scared. Are we done?
I think we are, unless Mr. Scotsman has some shameless self-promotion.
Actually, excuse me. Mr. DiManna, you and Mr. Alexander are two lovely people, and I highly recommend anyone listening to your podcast. Kaiju Weekly is fantastic. We listen to it weekly on the Monster Island here. The Monster Island Board of Directors loves it. And Mr. DiManna, you are one of our favorite guests to have here on the island. And Mr. Alexander, thank you so much for joining us. You are such a charming human being.
It's genuinely nice of you. Thank you.
That was interesting. I'm sure he's got nothing nice to say about me.
Oh, no, you can go yourself, Matt.
Oh, goodness gracious. Hey, wait a minute. Who's that behind you, Mr. George?
What? Oh, how you doing, Jimmy? How you doing? Oh!
Whoa.
Well, hi, Jimmy. I see you have recovered from the tasing. Well, it took you dang long enough. Huh. We've been putting up with that guy for a long time.
That was a decent karate chop to the neck. He is kind of a jackwagon, but is he going to be okay?
Oh, okay, I get it. You're a black belt in Kirk Fu. Yeah. He'll be out for a few hours, but he's otherwise fine. Got it.
Kirk Fu and tofu so far this episode. Well, I don't know. I feel like the tension just dropped a lot. I don't know. I could go another 40 minutes. How about you guys?
How about no? Cue credits. Thank you for listening to the Monster Island Film Vault, a podcast produced and hosted by Nate Marchand. If you enjoy the show and want to join the discussion, we'd love to hear from you. So email us at feedback@monsterislandfilmvault.com. Your message could be read on a future episode of the show. Our website is monsterislandfilmvault.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Monster Island Film Vault, and on Twitter, where our handle is at The Monster Isla 1. You can also follow Jimmy from NASA on Twitter at NASA Jimmy, and the Monster Island Board of Directors at Monster Isla BOD. I have fulfilled my contractual obligations! And be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, and Twitch. The podcast logo was created by Tyler Souls from TylerDrawsComics.com. Our theme song is Wanderer on the Offensive live edit by B33J, Sarax, Juan Madrano, and Nonsensical Lexus, which is a remix of Counterattack, Battle with the Colossus, and The Open Way, Battle with the Colossus by Kowatani from the video game Shadow of the Colossus. All film and audio clips belong to the respective copyright holders, and no infringement is intended or implied. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and or Podchaser to spread the word about the show. You can also support us by joining MIFV Max on Patreon. The Monster Island Film Vault is a Moonlighting Ninjas media production. Sayonara!
Oh, my aching head. I really, I should bop him over the head, but you know what? I could really use a drink. That'll do.